Before I play you this video, I want to explain exactly why it exists. So, I've never played Dungeons and Dragons until about a year ago. I started the planning in November of 2017. I wanted to be the dungeon master, and I knew nothing about it. So the first thing I did was go to YouTube and type in how to run the game. The very first thing that popped up was this guy.
Hi everybody, my name is Matt Colville.
So, going off of his advice, I decided to run against the cult of the Reptile God as my first adventure. And it took probably 60 hours to complete. So a good 12 sessions before the fight against Explicita one of my characters seemed like he was kind of having reservations about playing, so I messaged him directly and asked him if he was still with us, if he wanted to keep playing. He seemed like he was like his mind was occupied while he was at the table. And he opened up and said that, you know, I've been having a great time, but I kind of want to leave the game right now. He has other engagements, and our schedule of playing was kind of conflicting with stuff going on in his personal life. So I totally understood why he would want to leave playing the game, especially on Friday nights, since we play late on Friday nights. So I instantly had the perfect idea. And I told him, whenever you guys finish beating the Spirit Naga, be one of the people that searches for treasure. And whenever I describe the deck that you find in the loot, go ahead and pull the top card from the deck. Obviously, it was the deck of many things, and he pulled the card Dungeon from the top of the deck. Whenever he found the deck, I said he could pull any card from the deck. The top, the middle, the bottom, wherever he wanted to pull the card. And he said that he wanted to pull one card and pulled the top card. His body vanished before the party's eyes, and everyone's jaws just... They could not believe that he drew the top card, and the very first card that someone drew insta-killed someone. Not really killed, but he was going to have to roll a new character. No one else at the table knew the plan between me and Riardon. Riardon was the Eladrin bard that decided to leave. So, not knowing the plan between me and Riardon, our sorcerer, Morthos, decided to draw 4 cards. Our ranger, Shadow, drew 1 card. Our barbarian, Dothgar, drew 1 card. The reason Morthos drew 4 cards is because he knew that there were things inside the deck that could bring Riardon back. For magical items or other rare items in my game, I usually let the guys roll a arcana or religion check depending on the item, and if their roll is really high, they'll recall information about the item that they had previously learned in a book or something, or what they heard in passing. If they roll really low, then they're gonna have to get someone to identify that item for them because they don't know. So most of the cards wound up being really bad. Morthos instantly knew that, you know, something bad is gonna happen with one of the cards that he drew. But he wasn't quite sure what the other one did. Actually, he didn't know exactly what either of the cards did. Whenever he drew them, there were no instant effects, and he wasn't the one that rolled the check. Before he could describe what the card looked like, it had vanished from his hands. I won't go into exactly what happened with those cards because that will be an entirely separate video. It was great though. The card that was drawn by the barbarian Dothgar happened to be the thing that could bring Riardon back. It was at that time, after Dothgar drew the card, and it was the last card that was drawn from the party members, that Riardon decided to tell everyone, you know, you don't have to use your card to bring me back. This will be my last night with you guys at the game." It was a very touching moment, and then Morthos was just shaking his head like, "Man, if I had known that, I wouldn't have drew 4 cards." So he said his goodbyes and said he had a good time, but it was just his time to go. And everyone thanked him for playing with us, and we had a really great time with him at the table. Skipping past a lot of things that happened with the other cards. So bad things happened in the next session. Again, that's another video. So Morthos died, and he had to roll a new character. I knew before the session he was probably going to die, so I contacted him and said, "Man, you're probably going to have to roll a new character if you want to have one ready before we play. Depending on the party's actions, you might have to roll a new character." Basically, Dothgar had the card that could undo what happens to him, but I wasn't gonna force him to use the card, so Dothgar didn't use the card. The session continues, and Morthos is dead, and then the Bard Bran shows up and joins the party. The session wraps. Shortly after they met the Bard, they went on a small adventure into an old tomb, and at a good stopping point, we decided to wrap up for the night. So it was in between those sessions that I spoke with the player that was running Dothgar, and he was like, "You know, I think I'm going to use the card now." So I said, "Alright, well, it's not too late. We can go ahead and do it. What are you going to do? Are you going to bring Morthos back, or..." He said, "No, I'm going to go ahead and undo finding the deck." Okay. Well, if that's the case, then Riardon's gonna have to leave a different way, so it's totally fine. You can use the card that way. I'll think of something. So I contacted the player that played Riardon and asked him, "Is there a way that you could shoot like a farewell video?" I was thinking something like on his phone in his car before he walked into work, something 30 seconds long, like, "It's been fun, guys. Blah, blah, blah. I'm just gonna go on my own way now." Well, this is the video that he sent me. It was above and beyond anything that I had in mind.
Wow, guys, what an epic battle, huh? We were all like, pow, kabam, woo! And there was some magic and some peril thrown in for good measure. Epic! But I'd like to take it down a peg. There's been something that's been weighing on my mind since we began this journey. I spent hundreds of years surrounded by common folk and travelers, spending my nights and days entertaining the masses and royalty alike. After many lifetimes of servitude to the craft, I set out with my life savings to see the world. Ever since leaving my home realm, I intended a journey of solitude. I'd only just begun when we met that fateful night at the Dewdrop Inn. Although I have cherished my time with you and the adventures we have had, I feel it is now time to move on from this life of treachery and see what new horizons are abound for me. Don't worry, Shadow, it'll be okay. You don't have to leave me. It is with heavy heart that I must part ways with the group this evening. Thank you all for your generous acts of goodwill and the adventures we shared. I will cherish them until my dying days. Gel, your fists are strong, but it was a weak move not trying that human flesh. I get it, you're a human and all. No ill will. Farewell, good sir. Shadow, please stop crying. I apologize for trying to jump your bones the very first evening that we met. It had been a while, and I had never humped the likes of an upright cat before. Your tree climbing ability still amazes me to this day. Peace, my feline brother. Drax, big guy. Although you came late to the party, your thirst for adventure was palpable. May you seek whatever it is you long for, and Godspeed as you gallivant across this vast world. Shadow, stop making a scene. Dothgar. Oh, servile Dothgar. How do I say this in a way that you'll understand? I be leaving now. Farewell, friend. Shadow. For Christ's sakes, get it together, you big And Morthos. Your verve and vigor will only strengthen as you grow older and become more powerful in the ways of your teachings. Continue striving to hone your skills and try not to irritate the group so much. Maybe you'll understand that more whenever you're older. And one more thing, try your best to stay awake. Unless you can learn to trance, I recommend you sleep with one eye open. To whomever may be listening in the grand skies above, your world is vast, plentiful, full of rich detail, debauchery, and lively characters. I hope that as I embark on my solo quest, that I may encounter such rich and diverse beings. I'll be around. Thanks for creating this fun world we all live in. So long, my friends. It's been a grand adventure. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a world to see.
So I'm sorry I skipped past a whole bunch of things to explain leading up to the video, but I needed to give a little bit of background before playing it. So if you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment and I'll respond to them when time allows. I'll try to make another video about the bad things that happened to Morthos and exactly why they played out the way they did. It might be really long. I'll basically have to explain like everything from my game that led up to it, and it'll take a while. Alright, it's been real.